Two kefirs here. I had them out for 4 hours, about 68 degrees. They're completed. See, I've got whey pocket. Very solid. Look at that. Number one, I use around a 3-to-1 grain ratio. So how you do that is basically, no matter how many grains you've got, you just make it 1/3 of the milk. So you put in your grains and you add in 2 parts more milk. So you have 1 part grains, 2 parts milk. And like I said before, depending on your temperature, you can go a little higher, a little lower. As you fluctuate down to 2-to-1, your timing is going to be reduced, obviously. So start with high grain ratio, 3-to-1 grain ratio. It's going to be in the refrigerator. For me, I do it in a 24-hour cycle, so it's going to be in the refrigerator all day except for when I ferment it. And this, like I said, was out for 4 hours at 68 degrees. Next, and of course, yeah, based on your actual temperature, this was at 68 degrees at 3-to-1. I go about 4 hours. If it was 75 degrees at a 1/3 grain ratio, you'd probably start at about 3 hours. And if you were at 78 degrees, you'd probably go about 2.5 hours at 3-to-1 grain ratio. And then in the refrigerator the rest of the day of the 24 hours, your cycle. So after you try it out for the first time, if it's not ready by the time you want to strain it the next day, obviously you just leave it out a little bit longer. You check it about every 15 minutes, because once you pull it back out, it's going to finish off quick. It's going to take right off as soon as it gets above 38 degrees. Once it starts warming up, I mean, 15 minutes you can have it accelerate quickly, which is really just showing your time before that you would leave it out before when you originally fermented it. So if it took an extra 15 minutes at the end, you'd probably leave it out an extra 15 minutes on your initial ferment, so that at the time you want to strain it the next day, it's going to be at that point again. And then about shaking, disturbing the grains. Shaking up the grains is better. See how this one right here, it developed a small whey line in the bottom. I don't like getting a whey line. I don't like the whey line like that. It's uneven because you got liquidy milk down here and this is all really thick. I'm shaking a lot more. It's more complete. I did let it go a little bit too far, so I got a whey pocket, but that's not a big deal. But it is a solid mass. But between this and this, with one more shake, this would have been just perfect with no whey separation, just solid. But yeah, it doesn't happen every day. For me, my timing gets screwed up. It's not a big deal, because what I will do with this, what I prefer to do is just drain out the whey pocket if possible. This one's pretty tall, I might not be able to do it, but there's not that much whey. Pour about half that off. The intensity and frequency that you shake or stir up the grains will increase the timing as well. So if you shake it or stir it more, so your timing will be adjusted forthright as well. Like I said, I prefer to shake them. You don't always remember to shake them, so you end up, it's not a big deal. It's not going to be perfect. Every day is going to be different. You just roll with it. You just adjust it back the next day. If you get like this, some people would think this is hard to get the grains out. But since I started using a 3-to-1 grain ratio, I had no problems getting the grains out. They come right out because there's a very high amount of kefir. Kefir is a substance around the grains, the slimy substance. And that substance, when you get a lot of it, it just makes it much easier to get the grains out of a solid mass, which looks like it's a solid mass of cheese, but this is not a solid mass of cheese like you get when you use one little grain. When you put one little grain in there, most of your stuff is turning into clabbered milk. You're getting a little bit of kefir, but it's not the same. It's nowhere near the same using this many grains. And through my research that I've been doing, I'm finding that higher amounts of grains produces more nutrition, more amino acids, more mostly more of everything that you're looking for by using more grains. So it's pretty much what I think is the solution for modern kefiring. So I'll show you a quick strain out on these. Did that look like it was a bunch of cheese, right? Nope, it's just a yogurt consistency. It stays smooth and creamy. Directly strained out like cake batter. Smooth, like it's been blended with like cake batter. I don't know. That's just air bubbles in there. Otherwise it's completely smooth. Typically you want to stir up your kefir before you put it in the strainer. Get it mixed up. Stir it around. Helps you to strain it easier. So that's what I've got for grains in these containers. Which are 1.5 quarts. The one does have a little bit more grains in it. That's probably why it finished sooner. I need to transfer that little mound off the top over to this one. Yeah, so this is, it's reading on here. I've got around 6 ounces of grains in here, and I fill it up to about the 2-cup mark right now. Ounces. I go a little bit over 2 cups, so yeah, I'm putting 12 ounces of milk into 6 ounces of grains. No matter how many grains you got, if you only got a tablespoon, then you put in 1/4 cup of milk. That's all you do. Same timing. The ratio and temperatures is what really correlates the timing the most. So yeah, I really like these new jars I got. The nice thing about it is it leaves a little bit more headspace in the top. So I have a little bit of air in there, so some yeast can use that up. Ferment sealed with the plastic cap, which will purge air, but it's considered a sealed ferment. It's got good measurements on the side. Real nice, I like it. Add in, I've got the raw milk here. It's up and add it up. All right, there it is. 500 mils total. Started at what? It was like 175 mils at the 6 ounce mark. All right, now they're going into the refrigerator until I get home later. Here we have it.